Hello, friends. The reading I chose for today from Eugene Peterson's book is titled, "The Struggle Makes Sense." And this is what he writes. The Christian life is an invitation to hear something good, not something sad, morose, or tragic. One of the fruits of the Christian life is joy. Praise and gladness are characteristic marks of the worship that Christians offer. What we have, you see, is a style of joy, a quality of gladness that achieves its inner quality not by avoiding sin or by sidestepping evil or by carefully constructing one's life so that one will not be troubled by misfortune. What we have instead is a joy so powerful, a gladness so ultimate, that it can confront what is tragic and overcome it. Christian good news is solid enough that it can absorb the world's bad news and still maintain itself as good news. One recalls a short fable. Two frogs fell into a jar half full of cream. One frog soberly appraised the situation, realized that struggle was useless, put its little fingers together, and drowned. The other frog was not so intellectual and did not stop to analyze the situation. Since it did not have the same information as the other frog, it went on struggling for its life. The rapid strokes of the frog's hands gradually thickened the cream and created a lump of butter. The emotional frog crawled onto the solid lump and jumped out of the jar. That's not a bad summary of the Christian faith. A declaration that the struggle makes sense. I'm no better at explanations of what's wrong with the world than anybody else. But I can bear witness that people can experience the deepest kind of humiliation and rejection and still have life make sense. Finally, because God worked in them. I can bear witness that the suffering that Jesus experienced and confronted didn't produce a morose, depressed man, but rather resulted in the gospel, the good news. And I can bear witness that when I share the sufferings of others and confront the despair of life, I find another power working in me, the grace of Jesus Christ, that puts things together again in a way that feels strangely like joy. That's an interesting thought by Peterson, and I appreciate how he acknowledges, as we all must, that struggle and difficulty and loss are an unavoidable part of life. And as is often said, Jesus never promised that life would go easily after we begin following him. However, I don't think I would use words like joy or gladness as Peterson does. My own preference would be to say that in spite of it all, we have hope. I think hope is different from joy or gladness, even if we're careful not to define those things as some kind of happiness as we know it. But even hope can be a hard one. Sometimes the things we hope for are just not possible. A person once told me that there are times as pastors that we need to help people reframe hope because something they were hoping for has been lost. But at the end of the day, as Christians, we hope for God to set things right. It may not be in our preferred timing, but we still believe that God will bring new life. I'm reminded of the old African-American spiritual, "We shall overcome," that we associate a lot with the civil rights movement, of course, but they think it actually goes way back to the days of slavery. But imagine all that these people were enduring: brutal slavery, families torn apart, days of Jim Crow and lynchings, segregation, bombings, police dogs and fire hoses, poorly provided education and poor opportunities. The fear, the reasons for hopelessness. Yet they sang on, "We shall overcome. We'll walk hand in hand. We shall live in peace. we are not afraid. God will see us through. We shall overcome someday. Those are good words for anyone, I think, about hope in the midst of struggle. And I think it helps to sing about it in many ways, to sing a song that reminds us of the hope that we have in God, and to sing about it also together. Together, as the song keeps using the word we over and over, so it was a communal reminder to have hope. And just as groups can instill a sense of despair or fear or anger in their members and get each other worked up into a frenzy, we in the community of Jesus should be about the business of instilling a sense of hope and love in one another, reminding each other that that is at the heart of who we are, and we believe in those things not because everything is going the way that we want or because we have the ability to make it happen, but we believe those things because we believe in what God can do and in what God will do. So as people have used songs as a means of remembering hope and reminding each other of hope, and as people sometimes also gather together to help them have strength and maintain that hope, are there other things that help you to maintain hope in yourself, in your own life, when you are feeling discouraged or are dealing with suffering in your own life? Friends, may God give you peace and hope this week in whatever is going on in your life. Bye now.